Before the restaurant even opened this morning, there was a knock at the back door. An employee thought it must be another employee coming to work. It was a man with a gun. He robbed him, and then he took off running for these woods.
I was nervous when the gentleman walked in, because he was shifting back and forth and a little edgy. But when he took out the gun, I knew he meant business.
The robber took off running with the cash into these woods behind the restaurant, but he didn't get far. 3 employees chased him down.
Manager Claudette moved with the quickness of a jungle cat as she leapt into her burgundy tercel to give chase. I don't know. In a frenzied moment of knowing candor, I looked toward Jarrell and Tino and uttered a stirring call to action. Dem Arby's boys, wheels up, ski skirt.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Spann Report Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 296, man. 296 of the report. And yo, man, I saw that on Twitter earlier this week. I thought it was funny, man. First we had Bush Woo, and now we got Skeet Skirt. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. And it's happening here in the Detroit area. But yo, man, like I said, this is episode 296. And we got a lot of news and noise and stuff to kind of sift through and whatnot. But of course, before we do all of that, let me remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast. Let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up the hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. And if you're fortunate enough to watch us live here on Facebook and YouTube, you can call into the hotline and chop it up with your man Spann here right as we do that, right? So go ahead and hit up the hotline at area code 313-288-0485. You can also email us here at the show at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Leave us those emails. And of course, those emails will get replied to and they'll get read and replied to here live on the show as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So you can go ahead and follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. It's been very colorful over there on these Twitter streets as of late. Also, hit us up with a 5-star review on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. It doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network, right? And also, leave us those comments on Castbox. For those of you who are listening to the show via Castbox, you can leave us comments there on the show on the show's page or on every episode. Every episode has a page on Castbox. So if you leave us a comment there, we will definitely read those comments and reply to those comments here live on the show. Also, hit us on our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there. You can leave comments there. You can vote in the polls when we decide to put those polls up. You can watch replays of the show on the website. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. And you can also hit up our store, man. Get yourself some fly Spann Report Podcast Network gear, man. Get your t-shirt or a hoodie or something like that. Get your coffee mug or a sports bottle or whatnot. We got some stuff in that store, man, that you would really like. So for those of you who would like to support us in that way, that really does help for us to keep the lights on when it comes to the Spann Report Podcast Network, right? Real talk. But yo, man, don't really have a whole lot of random thoughts this week, man. I mean, just real talk. Just been, at work, doing work shit. I've seen some stuff happening in the news, so I just feel like we just gonna go ahead and get right to it. All right, our first story here in the news has to do with Ahmaud Arbery. There has been another arrest in the case where the man who was filming the killing of Ahmaud Arbery has also been arrested. Uh-oh. All right. I had this story. Where the hell did it go? Ain't that some shit? Oh, here we go. Oh, man, I thought we was going to be hit with technical difficulties already, but we get this story here. This comes out of WGXA-TV, and there's video attached to this. So let me go ahead and pull this video up so you guys can kind of watch along with your man Spann. Hold on just a second while I do that. Pull this up, and here we go.
Thank you, Jeff. And the man who recorded the fatal shooting of a black jogger outside of Brunswick, Georgia, is now behind bars. William Roddy Bryan Jr. witnessed that deadly encounter between two men and Ahmaud Arbery back on February 23rd. Bryan was in a vehicle behind the pickup truck being driven by one of those suspects. Bryan was arrested today, according to the GBI, but he maintains that he was not involved in this incident. One of the suspects, Gregory McMichael, told police that Brian tried to help them stop Arbery earlier. Brian is facing charges of felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. He will be booked into the Glynn County Jail, where Gregory and Travis McMichael are being held on charges of murder and aggravated assault.
All right. So here's the deal, right?
Tonight, the number of homicides in Bibb County.
Yeah, let me pull that down. But so here's the thing, right? I know like a lot of us are like, yo, good, he was arrested, and my thing is this, when it comes to this, this dude was already in the news. He was already like talking about how he feels like his life is in danger, how he feels like, people have been giving him death threats and things of that nature. I honestly low key feel like, it's just your man Spann speaking, I honestly feel like this man is being protected by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, or maybe, like whatever law enforcement that was responsible for locking these people up. I honestly kind of feel like with this guy in particular, that was one way to protect him, right? I don't think that this guy's going to be in general population. I think he's going to be in some sort of segregated housing to keep him away from the other inmates, especially some like the brothers who really want to get their hands on not only him, but the McMichaels. I kind of feel like the reason why they even bothered to lock this dude up wasn't so much because they thought he was guilty of, any harm that came to Ahmaud Arbery, but simply because there were probably credible threats to that dude's life because people are upset about what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. So, yeah, man, he videotaped it. They sat on that videotape for a while. It was like a couple months. This happened in February. So like, here we are here, like met in May, like 2 months, 3 months later, and they're finally deciding that they're going to arrest this dude because, they botched this case so thoroughly, to get things started with this. So yeah, man, dude who filmed Ahmaud Arbery's killing is also now in jail, attached to his murder. Now Lee's, and he said, I've seen that guy before. Wasn't he at the church downtown? I don't know. I've seen other videos of him though, like that Arby's guy. I know this when you're referring to the Arby's guy. The Arby's guy, like apparently this is kind of what he does. He's an actor, and he's had, I think they call him the I don't know guy or some shit like that. Somebody on Twitter put me up to him. But the first time I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute. Where was I when this motherfucking video was taken? Like when this report was coming on, where the fuck was I at? Because I know damn well I'd have seen this shit, right? But apparently it was a spoof, and he's done that quite often, man. So yeah, that's going on. Now, another story that we got here in the news has to do with the state of Michigan. And apparently, us here in Michigan, we're going to start getting like ballots mailed out to us. Not ballots mailed out to us. Applications for mail-in ballots mailed out to us by the Secretary of State to make sure that we all have a chance to vote come November. All right, so we're going to read this story here. This comes out of clickondetroit.com, and it says the Michigan Secretary of State is sending applications to all Michigan voters to vote by mail for the upcoming August and November elections. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson said the decision is based on safety during the pandemic for both voters, clerks, and volunteers. By mailing applications, we have ensured that no Michigander has to choose between their health and their right to vote, said Benson. Voting by mail is easy, convenient, safe, and secure, and every voter in Michigan has a right to do it. Of the 7.7 million registered voters in the state, about 1.3 million are on the permanent absent voter list, and their local election clerk mails them applications ahead of every election. Additionally, some jurisdictions are mailing applications to all local registered voters. The Michigan Department of State Bureau of Elections has ensured all remaining registered voters receive an application. We appreciate that some clerks are proactively protecting public health by mailing applications to all their registered voters, and we are fulfilling our responsibility to provide all voters equal access, said Benson. We know from the elections that took place this month, that during the pandemic, Michiganders want to safely vote. The application mailing from the Bureau of Elections includes a cover letter with instructions from Secretary Benson. Once a voter signs their application, they can mail it or email a photo of it to their local clerk, whose contact information is included on the application. The application is also available for download. And at the same website, voters can also register and join the permanent absent voter list, so they always have the option to vote by mail. The vast majority of voters across the political spectrum want the option to vote by mail, said Benson. Mailing applications to all registered voters is one way we will be ensuring Michigan's elections will continue to be safe, accurate, and secure. Now, one would think this wouldn't be terribly controversial, but we live in some really polarized political times. And so personally, for your man Spann, I'm of the mindset that, like, yo, man, we should have access to the ballot. If you're a registered voter here in the state of Michigan, or if you're a registered voter anywhere in the motherfucking country, if you're a registered voter, you should have an easy access to the ballot. It shouldn't be a challenge for you to cast your ballot and let your voice be heard in the polls. But ironically, a lot of Republican leaning, a lot of right wing leaning, political operatives, or even just right wing leaning supporters have an issue with this. Some of them believe that this is illegal, right? Unfortunately for them, what they don't necessarily remember, especially here in Michigan, which is kind of funny, what they don't necessarily remember is that we voted on this in 2018 to allow for us to have the access to the ballot through mail. I don't understand. I get that they want to say like this is a there's potential for voter fraud, but the irony in the entire argument about there being potential for voter fraud is that the people who are usually talking about voter fraud are the ones who are actually committing voter fraud. So we saw this story that happened in North Carolina, where there was a case that happened in North Carolina where one of the candidates' son was involved in retrieving mail-in ballots, but not necessarily turning in those mail-in ballots in an effort to suppress the vote in that district. And so it's weird. Like, they want to keep telling you that this is about protecting the sanctity of the vote, when at the same time they want to keep people from actually being able to exercise their right to vote. And we know that this targeted at certain communities, right? We know it's targeted at African American communities. We know it's targeted mainly at a lot of urban areas where they don't want you to have access to the ballot. Take a look at what happened in Wisconsin. I want to say last month or the month before last, where we're in the middle of a pandemic. The coronavirus is ravaging across the country. And rather than delay the election or give people an extension so that they can turn in their ballots or give them absentee ballots to vote, the Republican Party in that state decided that they wanted to have that election that day. And the reason why they wanted to have that election that day was because, one, they assumed that the people of that state were not going to risk their lives to go out there and take and cast a ballot. They were wrong. They were like sorely wrong in that. A lot of people, despite the risk, went out to cast a ballot because they understood how important it was to cast that ballot in that election for the Supreme Court in that state, right? But this is a concerted effort. It's a concerted effort to try to use the pandemic to keep people away from the polls. Because one of the things that we know, and Donald Trump has been very adamant in, is that if people have access to the ballot, Republicans lose. He's already come out and admitted that. So, yeah, man, that's been the news. But we got some breaking news, y'all. So, breaking news, Donald Trump threatens to stop funding for Michigan if absentee ballots are sent to all voters. I mean, come on now. Come on, man. First of all, let's just say right now that's unconstitutional. He can't do it. But the fact that he would be willing to try to do it speaks volumes, considering the fact that he did just have an impeachment trial just last year. And part of the reason for the impeachment trial was that he was trying to use the power of his office to his own political means at the detriment of someone else, right? So we're going to read this story here. This comes out of the Detroit Free Press. It says that President Donald Trump on Wednesday morning appeared to threaten funding for Michigan amid a global health pandemic if state officials move ahead with plans to send absentee ballot applications to every state voter. It was far from clear, however, if the president understood what he was talking about. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson on Tuesday morning said in a story first reported in the Free Press that she and local clerks will send absentee ballot applications to all of the state's 7.7 million voters so that they can, if they choose to do so, take part in the August 4th and November 3rd elections without going to the polling places. Doing so would allow them to avoid the potential threat posed by the spread of the COVID-19 novel coronavirus. But Trump's post on Twitter about 7:50 a.m. appeared to suggest that Michigan was in the process of sending absentee ballots themselves, not the applications for people to ask for them if they wish to vote to the voters. So to make matters worse, Donald Trump didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. They were sending out the applications so that you'd have the option to vote by mail. Not that they were sending the ballots, no, just the application. So if you want to vote by mail later on, you'd have that option. He wrote, it's illegal for anyone to send unsolicited absentee ballots to voters, and said that if it occurs, he will ask to hold up funding to Michigan if they want to do this voter fraud path, if they want to go down this voter fraud path. He also referred to Manchin as a rogue Secretary of State without mentioning her name. Trump made a similar threat on Twitter Wednesday morning about efforts in Nevada to ensure voters get absentee ballots. While it is illegal in Michigan to send absentee ballots to voters who do not formally request them, it is far from clear that there are the same legal hurdles for sending applications for the absentee ballots to registered voters, though it could be challenged in court. Benson and some local clerks sent out applications to voters before the May 5th local elections in response to the pandemic. Michigan hosts primaries for offices other than president in August, and the national general election is on the first Tuesday of November. The state authorized no reason absentee voting in a referendum in 2018. Now, here's the other thing that I want y'all to consider about this, right? So you got Donald Trump threatening to cut off the funding for Michigan if they decided to send absentee ballots to voters for the 2020 elections. Got that, right? It's already legal. We know that. That's not what's happening here, though, right? But here's the other kicker. There's now a play. There's now a play where they want to like kind of sully the idea of voting by mail, despite the fact that Donald Trump votes by mail all the time. Y'all think Donald Trump actually walks into a goddamn polling place to cast a ballot if he does vote at all? Right? Do y'all think that's what he's doing? No, Donald Trump is voting by mail. So the idea that voting by mail is somehow inherently corrupt, and yet the president of the United States is telling you is inherently corrupt. But this is something that I do, though. Do as I say, not as I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all it's corrupt, but I'm a corrupt motherfucker anyway. So this is what I get to do. Y'all don't get to do that because y'all ain't corrupt like me. Is that the play here? Like, this is how they like? It's like they're talking out of both sides of their mouths and shit, right? So yeah, man. Donald Trump threatened to cut off the funding of both Michigan and Nevada if they went through with the idea of sending out the application so that people will have access to the ballot, so that we're not faced with the choice of, do I risk going out and catching coronavirus or being infected with COVID-19 because I want to go out and place a ballot, or I want to participate in the democratic process, or just not having my voice heard at all, especially in an election as important as this one coming up. So yeah, that's in breaking news. Now, another thing that's breaking. Yo, man, check this out. Kwame Kilpatrick, man, just got his early release, y'all.
That'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Yeah, man, we're going to read this story here. This comes out of the Detroit Free Press. So we're going to read the story, and it says the U.S. Attorney's Office in Detroit is looking into a report that ex-Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick is getting a compassionate release from federal prison after serving 7 years of his 28-year public corruption sentence. Kilpatrick, 49, was not eligible to be released until 2037 for his crimes that a federal jury convicted him of in 2013. Excuse me. But a group called Ebony Foundation, which has been lobbying for Kilpatrick's release, announced on Friday that Kilpatrick has been granted early release amid COVID-19 fears, news that stumped the U.S. Attorney's Office as it was not able to confirm the report. Kilpatrick's appellate lawyer, Harold Gurewitz, also was stumped, noting he had not heard of this development. I am also attempting to find out if the BOP has taken any steps towards releasing Kwame from FCI Oakdale, which has had an unacceptably high incidence of COVID-19 deaths and cases, Gurewitz told the Free Press. Officials with the Federal Bureau of Prisons were not readily available through a federal prisons record though a federal prison record still lists Kilpatrick as an inmate in a low security prison in Louisiana. The Ebony Foundation announcement came 3 months after the U.S. Attorney Matthew Schneider, a Trump appointee, vowed to fight any early release for Kilpatrick, telling the Free Press that Kilpatrick got what he deserved. Now, interestingly, that it's a Trump appointee that's saying that, right? Because as it stands right now, and I've seen this news article posted before. As a matter of fact, shout out to the homie. Shout out to the homie Cook. I'm sorry, Cook. Shout out to the homie Cook, because Cook was like showing me like, yo, man, they talking about they freeing Kwame. Y'all own Congress people are saying that, right? So there was a congresswoman that her name is Karen Whitsitt. right? Now, we talked about Karen Whitsett last month. Karen Whitsett was a congressperson here in Detroit. I think she's like a local, like a state congressperson. Like, you know, she's in the local, the state legislature. And she was talking about how she had the coronavirus, and on the recommendations of Donald Trump, she took hydrochloroquine. And she said that after she took the hydrochloroquine, it, like, you know, got rid of her coronavirus, saved her life. So she credits Donald Trump with saving her life. She also took the Democratic Party here to task. She called out Governor Gretchen Whitmer and said that this is all purely politics, the way that they're fighting Donald Trump, and that they should allow for hydrochloroquine to be used in the treatment of COVID-19 or coronavirus infections, right? So, it was this same woman who was going around saying that she got word from Donald Trump directly, that Donald Trump was the one who put in the good word for Kwame Kilpatrick to be let out of jail, right? Now, let's talk about that for a second here. And we talked about this before, because it wasn't even with her. It was another woman by the name of, was it Gay Nago? I believe that's her name. I think she's like in the city council or in the state legislature. And she talked about she went to the White House. She talked to Donald Trump about possibly releasing Kwame Kilpatrick from federal custody. And, you know, that's been a thing. And one of the things I've been thinking about, and one of the things I've been like kind of wondering how this would play out, is could they use Donald Trump? Well, could Donald Trump use the release of Kwame Kilpatrick in a way to try to make Detroit or the state of Michigan put that in play for himself come, you know, the 2020 presidential elections, right? Because for those of you who aren't familiar with the city of Detroit or haven't been around here much, like Kwame Kilpatrick, despite all of the things that Kwame Kilpatrick has been accused of, convicted of, and has done, he's still popular, very popular with a certain segment of the community here in the city of Detroit, right? Like, despite all of the shit that the city of Detroit went through with Kwame Kilpatrick as mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick has a contingent of people here who fucks with him heavy, right? Got a lot of clout here still in the city, despite the fact that, you know, the city went through a lot of shit with him as mayor. And so even the current mayor is like, yo, I've known Kwame Kilpatrick since he was a kid, and I will do anything I could to like kind of help him in his transition if he does get out, right? Which is also kind of interesting too, man, because like it's weird that like the current mayor is an ally of Kwame Kilpatrick, and yet he's somehow not as popular as Kwame Kilpatrick, and he wants to be an ally to Kwame Kilpatrick. I don't know if that's political expediency or not, but he wants to be an ally to Kwame Kilpatrick. But a lot of folks just ain't really fucking with him. And I don't want to say it's because he's white, but it might be, right? It just might be. But I kind of wonder, like, you know, you hear the Trump appointee like, yo, man, Kwame Kilpatrick got what he deserved. We're not really talking about letting him out. And then there's this thing with Kwame Kilpatrick may just be getting out on the fact that, like, yo, there's a lot of coronavirus cases that's happening in the place that he's being held. Now, you know, one could say, like, if it were simply a thing of, well, there's a lot of coronavirus cases and where he's being held, could he just be transferred to another prison? Does it require that they release him? Now, I have no real like dog in this fight. I don't care whether or not Kwame Kilpatrick gets released or whether he doesn't. I'm just wondering what the politics of all of this is, whether or not this could be a play for Michigan, because Donald Trump knows that Michigan is kind of slipping. Like there's a contingent here in Michigan that is like, yo, man, fuck this dude. And it could be a continuation of the blue wave that happened in 2018 that gave us a Governor Gretchen Whitmer, that gave us that gave us another 4 years another 6 years of Debbie Stabenow, and Michigan kind of going back into its blue kind of leaning political standing. And Donald Trump, knowing that because of his handling of this particular disease, his vilification of a very popular governor here in the state, that if he could use Kwame Kilpatrick to kind of nullify that, he would do so. And so I just kind of wonder if there's really that kind of play going on, especially since you got a state legislature who calls herself being like an ally of Donald Trump now on the Democratic side of the ticket, trying to use Kwame Kilpatrick's release as a way to like, endear himself to the African American community in the city of Detroit. And because the city of Detroit is the most populous city in the state, like, that can account for a shit ton of votes, and that can swing the state one way or the other. So yeah, man, that has been in the news. Let y'all know what time it is.
What in blue blazes is going on out here? Did this nigga just say blue blazes?
All right, our first story here in Blue Blazes is yeah, y'all gotta be ready to sit down for this one. Y'all gotta sit down. I mean, I'm already sitting, but y'all need to be sitting when y'all hear this. All right. I hope you're ready. Bow Wow says he's retiring after this next album.
And that'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Yeah, man. Bow Wow said he calling it quits. Now, shout out to those of us who thought the nigga had already stopped like rapping and shit, who thought it was over. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to those of us who just did not know that the nigga was even still putting music out. But we're going to read the story here, and it comes out of XXLMag.com. It says, just like Michael Jordan, please, y'all done fucked up already. Please don't ever put Bow Wow and Michael Jordan in the same sentence as if they were ever parallel. Don't ever do that. Ever do that. All right. But it says, just like Michael Jordan, Bow Wow has one last dance in him. During a recent Q&A with fans on Twitter, Bow spoke to his plans to retire in the near future. On Monday, May 18th, Bow Wow was asked a question about his impending retirement, in which the rapper turned actor confirmed that he will be exiting the rap game after releasing his next LP. He also explained how he plans to make room for his daughter, Shy Moss, to carry on the family legacy. Fuck yes, Bow wrote in its retweet. I have to get Shy ready. She wants to follow in my footsteps, so I have to shift my hustle. She next up. We're gonna own TV and film, daddy and daughter duo like no other. Bow Wow has yet to announce any plans to drop a new album, so his retirement may not be happening as soon as fans think. Man, drop that shit. Like, just drop it. Nobody's waiting. He is, however, teased another face-off album with Omarion. Back in 2016, Bow Wow told XXL his last and final project would be titled The Underrated LP. I'm going to close my career with the album. He said about the project, that's going to be the last one. I always said by the time I'm 30, I don't want to rap no more. Nigga, all right, man. The last album the rapper gave fans was in 2009. See, this is what I'm talking about. He gave his last album in 2009. I thought the nigga was done. It's been 11 years, bro. 11 years. When New Jack City 2 was... Wait, they made a New Jack City 2? Shut the front fucking door. They made a New Jack City 2? Who was in that shit? Hey, nah, for real. Who was in New Jack City 2? Now I got to go looking. Who the fuck was in New Jack City 2? Let me see. What the hell was... Like, y'all really did let them do that? Like, they really did make a New Jack City 2? Oh my fucking God, they did. Oh my damn. Who? Okay. So, okay. Who's in it? Who's supposed to be in it? I'm looking at IMDb. It's called The Road to New Jack City. It never came out. Oh, okay. So this is some bullshit. Okay, it's some bullshit. All right. Whew. Okay. Wait. They said in 2009 when New Jack City 2 was released. So wait a minute. It came out, right? It came out. I don't know, man. It ain't that important, man. New Jack City 2, though. I'm just saying, man. Y'all can't be. I mean, New Jack City. Let's keep it a buck, though. Let's keep it a buck. This shit was terrible. It was a terrible fucking movie. It's hood classic. It was a terrible fucking movie, yo. So I mean, they really probably could like remade it, but I'm saying, could you really like fuck up even more than the original? You know what I'm saying? But you got that going on. But yo, man, Bow Wow said he retiring. Despite the fact that you ain't heard an album or got an album from this nigga since like for 11 years. It's been a decade, bro. Like we thought you was already done. And like, truthfully speaking, we kind of hoped you already are. But that's in Blue Blazes. Now, another story that we got here in Blue Blazes is we got video to this shit too. We got a family in Caroline County, Virginia, that found $1 million in the middle of the road. And guess what these motherfuckers did? They gave it back. Let me pull this video up, man, so y'all can watch this here right along with your boy. Let me do this here. Let's do this here. Let's see what they talking about as they gave this money back. Come on, computer. Let's act like we're trying to do some shit today.
Discovery after finding 2 bags they thought were full of trash while out for a weekend drive.
It wasn't until they got home that they realized they had just hauled nearly $1 million in cash home. Crime Insider John Burkett is live now with the details in that story. John?
Finders keepers, Bill. Well, that is not the lesson that a Caroline County teacher taught her children over the weekend. In fact, it was opposite.
That's what they told me at Whacker, goddammit.
It doesn't belong to you. Integrity. Once you talk to Caroline County's Shantz family, you can tell their morals and values are about as rock solid as Billy Goat's gruff on the side of Route 250.
Morals and values.
He said, man, this is a cruel joke. You find a bag of money and you got to give it back.
No, you don't.
Drive Saturday afternoon,
no, you don't.
Leaving through backcountry Central Virginia roads when they came across some goats and pre-made storage sheds.
It made a huge clunk noise.
Emily Shantz says the car before them swerved and missed the bag, but they couldn't. They accidentally hit it. So they got out thinking someone had dumped trash in the middle of Broad Street. They picked the bag up, threw it in the back of the truck, saw one 15 feet away, threw that in the back of the truck, and headed into town.
Okay. This is where I'm calling bullshit right now. I'm calling bullshit. And low key, I think the family might have pulled a fast one on us. So check it. Some bags may have fallen off somewhere. Like you see a bag in the middle of the road. Somebody swerved and missed the bag, but the bag hit your car, right? You're like, all right, cool. Let me see. I get even being somewhat curious. What the fuck could this have possibly been and hit my car? Because, you know, especially if you got like a little, you know, fender bit, like a little bit of damage to the ride or whatever, I can see you want to be a little bit curious about that. I get that. But if you think it's trash, you assuming that it's trash. Nigga, how many of us are really putting trash in the backseat of the car? Like, especially trash that ain't ours. You're just picking up trash from the road, put it in the backseat. Oh, you see another trash bag down the road. Let's go pick that one up. We can't leave that here, right? Something tells me that these motherfuckers picked up a little bit more than goddamn $1 million. I ain't buying it, man. I ain't buying it, but I'm gonna let this video keep going.
Little did they know, they were driving around for hours with nearly $1 million in cold cash.
Inside of the bag, there was little packages that were little plastic like bags, and they were addressed on the front of them, and it said cash vault.
The Shantz called Caroline County deputies.
They've found out that they've been riding around all day with almost $1 million.
Oh, they knew.
Deputies are.
They knew.
They believe the mail bags belonged to the Postal Service and money inside meant for BB&T. But how they ended up on the side of the road remains a mystery. Major Scott Moser paid the family a visit Monday.
To have someone so honest and won't just give that $1 million back is exceptional on their part. And the 2 sons were there. I put the police lights on for them, but we're just very proud of them, and they really represented this county well by being so honest.
You do the right thing and return it because it doesn't belong to us.
Sure it doesn't.
And another question that remains unanswered tonight is, will the Shantz family get some kind of reward money for finding all of that cash? I'll find out and follow up with them and give you an update a little bit later on. Working for you, John Burkett, CBS 6.
All right, so check this out.
During our day today, clouds to the mix.
Let's stop that there. But check this out, man. So, first of all, I don't think they're worried about no goddamn reward. I think they got the reward already. I think they got the goddamn reward. And thank you. My man Jay in the motherfucking chat room. They found $2 million. Them motherfuckers found $2 million. Ain't no motherfucking way in hell I'm about to be picking up some random bag in the middle of the road talking about I thought it was trash. And then talk... Ain't no way, bro. They already got the motherfucking reward, man. I'd be like, yo, man, I found $1 million. It was $2 million. Okay, so like, okay, we found it. Because real talk, I'd have been like, yo, man, if I found $1 million, man, I sure hate to turn in this $500,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, I gotta be integrity. I gotta be, you know, I gotta show my integrity, man. I gotta be honest, man. And you know, here y'all go with y'all $250,000, man. This is what I found, man. I'm not throwing trash in the back of my ride, man. Especially trash that ain't mine. I don't know where the fuck the shit came from. Ain't no way. I got this sneaking suspicion that these motherfuckers gonna be on the news again, because the bank is going to try to account for the money and they're going to try to hold these people responsible. Like, hey, man, it was more money in them bags, man. Now, we get that y'all done got out in front of it. Y'all out on the news and shit like that. And y'all saying how much integrity y'all got and how honest y'all was and how great a lesson this is to teach the kid. Man, fuck all of that, man. Y'all some lying motherfuckers. Y'all got that money, bro. I ain't mad. I ain't mad at y'all. Because if it were me, I would do the same thing, baby. I would do the same thing, baby. I'm out here like, man, yeah, look. The Lord has blessed me again. Now, we talked about this last week with the little dude with the money. Not last week, week before last, with the little dude with the money that he found at the ATM. You know what I'm saying? I think he said like he found $125,000 next to the ATM. And he was like, yo, man, I don't want to be caught with this $125,000. I'm like, nigga, this is a blessing. This is a blessing. Now, truthfully, like, here's the other part about it. Here's the flip side of this, right? So I've seen people talking about this on social media. You know, they're like, yo, man, you got to be a stupid motherfucker to try to keep it. The people who lose that kind of money going to be coming back looking for it. Hey, man, you lost that kind of money on the side of the road, right? You lost that kind of money on the side of the road. Good luck finding me, nigga. Good luck. Good luck. I'm like, hey, you know what? We out. I think it's time we move, baby. We ain't got to stay here no more. I mean, the only thing keeping me here was the job anyway. And right now, this money right here is enough for us to get started someplace else, baby. We ain't got to be here no more. Real talk. I'm getting the fuck them up out of Dodge. Detroit, it was real, but I'm gone. Right? So, yeah, man. They say they found $1 million. I'm leaning more towards 2. Like my man James down here. So real talk, man. That's in Blue Blazers, man. Now, another thing that's here in Blue Blazers, man, I actually think this is a pretty dope story, man, because I was kind of critical in the beginning of this. But the guy who created the song Big Gretch in tribute to the governor here in Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, he used the money for that song. He tried to raise money to get her a pair of Cartier glasses, right? Now, ethically, the governor can't accept a gift like that as part of doing her duties in the job, right? But the money that he raised to get her the glasses was actually used and put in donations and put that shit back into the city of Detroit. So let me go ahead and pull this story up so we can get his man his just due. Let's read the story here. We get this out of clickondetroit.com. Oh, snap. Wait a second. Oh, so they got the video. So let me go ahead and play the video for y'all. Hold on. Let me do this because that was the other part too. Like I wasn't a real big fan of the song either, but let's go ahead and play the song, man.
Hey, on behalf of
Primo
Detroit,
beats on the chat.
hey, we want to present these buffs to our governor. Big Gretch. Throw her buffs on her face, cause that's Big Gretch. We ain't even about to stress. We got Big Gretch. You can find her in the press under Big Gretch. Real. Fresh in a new dress. Yeah, that's Big Gretch. Throw her buffs on her face, cause that's Big Gretch. We ain't even about to stress. We got Big Gretch. At all. You can find her in the press under Big Gretch. Fresh in a new dress. Yeah, that's Big Gretch. Come on. Big Gretch and this bitch playing no roles. Excuse all the cussing, that's just how I get my flow on. Real. If you want to leave the state, you can stay gone. But right now, Big Gretch said stay home. Sit your ass down. All that protesting was irrelevant. Big Gretch ain't trying to hear y'all or the president. How we gonna take orders from a non-resident? Talking about it safe, but he ain't coming with the evidence. Big Gretch got him shook now. When it's all over, you invited to the cookout. When it's all over, you deserve to get took out. Big Gretch with the buffs on the lookout. And she doing it for Michigan, so when she hit the stand, everybody should be listening. She on that pair of buffs with the ice in them glistening. On behalf of the whole Detroit, Michigan. Throw her buffs on her face, cause that's Big Gretch. We ain't even about to stress. We got Big Gretch. At all. You can find her in the press under Big Gretch. Fresh in a new dress. Yeah, that's Big Gretch. Throw her buffs on her face, cause that's Big Gretch. We ain't even about to stress. We got Big Gretch. At all. You can find her in the press under Big Gretch. Fresh in a new dress. Yeah, that's Big Gretch. Big Gretch.
All right, yeah, that's enough of that. But yeah, because it sounded like you just turn the beat on and just start talking. But good things came out of this though, y'all. Good things came out of this. So we're gonna read the story here. This comes out of clickondetroit.com. It says a local rapper song about Governor Whitmer has gotten so popular he's using it to give back to the community through the song Big Gretch. G-Mac Cash raised money to buy the governor new glasses, but when she wouldn't accept them, he put the money to good use. We got. If we don't take care of each other, who's going to take care of us? He said. Detroit rapper G-Mac Cash said the answer to that question is simple. The people of Detroit will take care of the people of Detroit. That was displayed Saturday morning. G-Mac Cash and New Era Detroit teamed up and surprised families with much needed food and supplies. It was great, man. We donated some food to the over 100 families. We donated masks and utensils to over 100 families. It was a good day. They didn't expect it. They didn't know anything about it. So that made it even better, said G-Mac Cash. G-Mac Cash said all of this was made possible by the people of Detroit. Local 4's Larry Spruill recently interviewed G-Mac Cash after he made a video thanking Governor Whitmer on how she's handling the coronavirus situation. He even raised money to buy Governor Whitmer her own pair of Cartier or Buff glasses. It was up to $3,000 in 24 hours, said G-Mac. But the governor's office said they couldn't accept the glasses and wanted G-Mac Cash to use the money to raise to help out the community, and so he did. To actually do that and give it back to the community, it was a blessing. I'm just thankful I was able to pull it off. Now, truthfully speaking, like I said, I was very cynical about the idea of like, yo, man, this is what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna like raise money to get the governor a pair of like Cartier glasses. I'm sure the governor could afford her own fucking pair of Cartier glasses. And like Cartier like glasses are really popular here in the city of Detroit. And so I know it's like a sign of respect to want to do that for, but at the same time, I thought it was quite frivolous. Right. And so the fact that they turned around and used this money to like help families in need in the city, the $3,000 that went to that was great. And I also found myself like, oh, damn, I didn't even think of this. Right. That G-Mac was also thinking like, yo, if I told people, certain people, that this was to raise money to help, families in need, I probably would not have gotten the $3,000 in as fast as in the 24 hours that I did had I made the plea out that way. And so it's kind of underhanded. It's kind of fucked up. But the end result is a good thing because of the fact that like there was 100 families who got supplies that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So, yo, man, I felt like that was a pretty dope story that he would take that money and use it in a way in which he did, because I think he kind of knew that the governor couldn't accept a gift that way, especially if she's got like integrity and ethics and shit, right? So, yeah, man, that's been Blue Blazers, y'all.
What in Blue Blazers is going on out here? This nigga just say Blue Blazers.
But y'all know what time it is.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
That's enough of that shit. It's Proud to Be an American time here at the Spann Report Podcast. And our first story here in Proud to Be an American is, so we talked earlier about the use of hydroxychloroquine in treating the coronavirus. We talked about the Detroit area state congresswoman who credited Donald Trump for telling her to use hydroxychloroquine to treat her coronavirus. Well, now we get a story of a woman out of Wisconsin who has been taking hydroxychloroquine for the better part of 2 decades to treat her lupus. But unfortunately, despite the fact that she's been taking hydroxychloroquine, she's got the coronavirus.
That'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
So we're going to read this story here. This comes out of Newsweek.com. It says a Wisconsin woman was reportedly surprised to learn of her COVID-19 diagnosis after taking hydroxychloroquine for nearly 2 decades. The same drug President Donald Trump recently said he was taking to ward off the virus. Kim, who asked to be identified by her first name only, has been taking hydroxychloroquine as a lupus treatment for 19 years, according to ABC affiliate WISN. The drug has long been approved by the Food and Drug Administration to treat lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and malaria. It has not been approved to treat or prevent COVID-19. When they gave the diagnosis, I felt like it was a death sentence. I was like, I'm going to die, Kim told the outlet. I'm like, how can I be sick? How? I'm on the hydroxychloroquine. They were like, well, nobody ever said that it was the cure or that it was going to keep you safe, and it definitely did not. Kim said that she believed she would not contract the virus because Trump touted the drug as effective, even though most medical experts urged caution. Despite only leaving her house to go to the grocery store, she started to experience troubling symptoms in mid-April. Now, check this out, man. As dumb as I think Donald Trump is, and as dumb as I think a lot of his fucking supporters are, you gotta take heed to the fact that like people listen to the dude because of the office that like the office that he holds. The president's words hold weight. And so you've got people who will like ignore, especially like Trump supporters and shit, but like they will ignore the advice of medical professionals to listen to a nigga that don't know shit about about medical treatments whatsoever, right? Like Donald Trump like tries to espouse himself as an expert of all things, but yo man, like you had people who were supposedly like taking hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID-19 who were wait, you know what? I'm sorry. That story took a turn. And I'm not going to refer to that anymore. That story took a turn. Dude, like there was a couple that we talked about here in the show a few weeks ago that said that they were taking the hydroxychloroquine, but it was really like some chloroquine shit that they were using to clean their fish tanks. And if they use it to try to treat the coronavirus or to prevent coronavirus, turns out the wife was really just trying to kill her husband and shit. And he used that as an excuse. But no, man, but you got people who were like really like taking seriously the idea of injecting themselves with disinfectant and shit. You got people calling the poison hotlines and shit at rapid paces and whatnot because people were really thinking of ingesting bleach or injecting some sort of disinfectant into their bloodstream to treat coronavirus or to prevent coronavirus. Like the dude don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And yet this lady who's been taking this drug, and I don't blame her for taking the drug. I blame her for believing that Donald Trump knew what the fuck he was talking about. She's been taking the drug for 20 years. But the idea that because I was taking this drug and the reason why it's news is because Trump told y'all he'd been taking this drug as a prophylactic. I'm taking it so that I don't get coronavirus. And that's on you if you believed that he was ever taking this shit to begin with, right? That's on you if you believe he was ever taking this shit to begin with, because I don't even believe that this motherfucker was taking it. I don't believe he was ever taking it, but he would have you believe that he was taking it. And if, he can use that, if he can use that to like, thumb his nose at the medical professionals who were like, yo, man, this is not what you want to do. You don't want to be taking this shit. This isn't the way to treat this particular virus. He'll do that because he feels like it's politically expedient for him to do so. So yeah, man, that's in Proud to be an American. Now, another story here that's in Proud to be an American is we got this story here. This comes out of where are we? This comes out of, oh damn, I thought I had this, but I don't have it. But what we're talking about is employers are struggling to compete with the $600 unemployment payments that unemployment has been paying people to keep them, while they've been off of work, right? So I had this story. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find this story. Let me see if I can, because I thought I had this saved up, but I do not. So employers can't compete. Employment. Let's see if we go. There we go. Okay, so I do have that story. Here we go. So we get this story here. This actually comes out of, I believe this is this is abcnews.com. So let me go ahead and pull this video up so you guys can watch this right along with your man Spann. Here we go. Come on now. Okay, computer, let's act like we're trying to do something today. Let's load this up. Come on. Computer, Comcast. Don't fail me now. All right.
So a little bit about my frustrations on filing here for unemployment. On the 17th, when we were furloughed, I immediately filed on their website, which took days, honestly, to file. Every time you go to sign in, it signs you in, and then you fill out a piece of paper, you fill out a form, and it brings you back to the sign-on page again. I think it was on the 24th when it finally got all of my forms and questionnaires answered, and it everything got accepted, but was marked pending. And then telling me that I had to sign back on the 31st to file for my actual 2, they call bi-weeklies, which were the 2 weeks in March that I was actually laid off and filing for. The site kept crashing. I kept getting error messages. It kept bringing me back to the sign-on page after I would put in my PIN number. And then after about 5 hours, I was able to get in, file for the 2 weeks that they asked for. And everything is now still marked pending. It's been a little over 3 weeks since I filed. I'm still marked in the computer as pending. No information as to when it will come out of pending. I'm in a waiting game now. So my day now consists of also trying to call them, which you can't get through. I either get busy signals, I get a message saying that they are not taking calls at this time, and then sometimes it doesn't even go through. That's the struggle we're in, and everyone I work with is still pending. And some haven't even bothered to file because they know how infuriating it is. I've been pending for 4 weeks now and 1 day. No information yet as to what's going on. No money coming in from unemployment or from the additional federal. Today was the day for me to file for my next set of bi-weeks. So going on 4 weeks not paid. And you can't file. You go to sign on and it brings you 1 to 2 pages in, and then it brings you back to the sign on page. It's extremely infuriating. So I'm basically living off savings. And I'm better off than most who don't have it. That's what's scary. Be safe, everyone.
All right. So that's the video, but we're going to read this article here. This comes out of abcnews.com. I'm going to go ahead and pull that down. We're going to read the story here. This comes out of abcnews.com. It says, as a producer of personal protective equipment, Carl Livesay was eager to rehire his 60 employees and get operations up and running at the Baltimore-based manufacturer Maryland Thermofoam Corporation once his forgivable government loan came through. But with some workers earning more staying home because of the enhanced employment benefits provided by the CARES Act, the company has struggled to restore its headcount, putting it at risk of violating the terms of its stimulus loan through the Paycheck Protection Program, which calls for employers to retain 3/4 of their payroll. It's been very difficult to get some people to return to work, Livesay, the vice president of operations for Maryland Thermofoam Corporation, told ABC News. In some cases, depending upon what their compensation was, they make more money with unemployment and the federal stipend of $600 a week. There's a significant unintended consequence, Livesay, who is also advising Maryland Governor Larry Hogan on reopening the state's economy, said of PPP. I'm hoping they give us some extra time to get up to full staff. We're interviewing 3 to 5 people a day for jobs we have open, and we can't get them to show up for interviews. Legally, if someone is offered reemployment and turns it down, they're likely to lose their unemployment insurance. But employers like Livesay are still finding it challenging to bring people back to work because of an unexpected decision. Should they rehire workers who stand to make more money on unemployment? The Paycheck Protection Program, rolled out in early April, provides small businesses with money to get 75% of their workers back on payroll within 8 weeks, while federal pandemic unemployment compensation, which boosts unemployment for every American by $600 per week, was created to protect over 36 million Americans who can't go back to work. But across the country, small business owners have found themselves caught in the crosshairs of 2 popular government programs. PPP is essentially the government program provided forgivable loans to keep people on the payroll. The extra unemployment money provides an incentive to not have people on the payroll, said Noah Williams, director of the Center for Research on the Wisconsin Economy at the University of Wisconsin. They seem pretty clearly in opposition to me, he said. In an effort to address this, the Small Business Administration recently updated its guidance, allowing businesses to still get their loans forgiven, even if laid off employees decline rehiring offerings. So check this out, man. First things first, I'm gonna just say this, man. The fact that there are jobs out here that are having a hard time competing with unemployment benefits is a sad state of the economy in and of itself, because obviously you weren't paying your workers enough to begin with, right? That's just where I stand with it. I'm just on this whole thing, like you're not paying your workers enough to begin with. And this goes back into like some conversations we've had here on the show about not necessarily essential workers, but like how people view like fast food workers and shit, right? So there's this thing where people are like, yo, man, fast food workers are asking for too much money, man. $15 an hour to flip burgers, yada, yada, yada. They asking for too much money. They don't pay me to do that. And I'm an EMT. They don't pay me that. And I do XYZ job, and I went to school for my job and they're not paying me that amount of money. And one of the things that I've come to realize is that like, when it comes to those sorts of jobs or when it comes to those sorts of arguments, like it never dawns on people that, yo, they underpaying you too. So while you're talking shit about the fast food worker who you deem as less than, who you think that like, yo, they don't have skill, they don't have drive, that like a fast food job is a job for a teenager, despite the fact that like, yo, you turning up at fucking McDonald's at 3:00 in the morning to go get you a double cheeseburger and some fries and some shit. Ain't no teenager supposed to be working in that motherfucking time of night anyway. But people have deemed these people less than, and so they're expected to like earn less than, right? But it never occurs to people that they too are being underpaid, right? And we see it play itself out now with how people are like, yo, man, I'm gonna get this unemployment because shit, I make more money on unemployment than I did when I was working my fucking job. And why would I go back to working this job when the coronavirus is still out there? I'm still not necessarily sure that they are taking the proper precautions to keep me safe when I get back to work, and they're gonna pay me less money. Why the fuck would I bother even doing that? Right? And so like these companies are like, yo, man, you are, or especially like Republicans. This is like a Republican's wet dream because the Republicans have been saying all along, like, you're giving them too much money. Like this disincentivizes people going back to work. But incentivizing them to go back to work will be like, hey, man, pay me more than what I'm getting right now. I mean, you're not paying me a whole hell of a lot to begin with, and you're definitely not paying me enough for me to be risking my life every time I go to work. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a police officer. I'm not a firefighter. I'm not any of these people, but you want to call me a hero. You want to call me a first, an essential worker and all these things, but you don't want to pay me like one. Right. And so it's real interesting, like how we're dealing with this. And then here's another aspect of this that I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about this over the course of the last week, man, especially like here in Michigan. So a few years ago, there was legislation that came down where they made Michigan a right to work state. I think I want to say we kind of voted on this referendum. I can't remember like whether we voted on it or whether or not the legislature kind of pushed this through. But Michigan became a right to work state. And one of the reasons why I was like, I was like pissed about the fact that they made Michigan a right to work state was because like, yeah, it's called right to work, but it's really like right to work for less, because what it was essentially doing was that it was trying to disincentivize union membership, right? When you become a part of a union, some of the benefits that come with a union is that like, yo, you collectively bargain your compensation, you collectively bargain your benefits package, you collectively bargain your the level of insurance, like health insurance that you are eligible for. All of these things, like the comprehensive package that you get when you become an employee of a company that's a union shop, right? And so what they tried to do was they wanted to make the union respond, like you get all of the benefits of being in the union without actually paying the union any dues to represent you, right? This is what they were doing. They were trying to basically bankrupt unions by doing this. Like, so you had people who were like in unions who were saying, well, I don't understand why I'm paying the union X amount of dollars. Now I'm a union person. I'm a part of a union. I pay my union 1% of my paycheck. So if I get a paycheck of like $3,000, my union gets $30. I'm sorry, but I ain't really missing $30. But this is the thing that like a lot of folks were saying about their union membership. They're not necessarily happy with the union for whatever reason. Maybe it's like you feel like the union is protecting somebody who may not necessarily deserve to be protected. Maybe you feel like the union is impeding your advancement props because there's a seniority list in place and like you are low on the seniority poll, despite the fact that you have such X amount of skills in a certain manner. Like, the shit goes by who's been here for a while, who's been here first. So there's people who are upset about things like that. And they're like, you know what? Fuck this union. I don't want to be a part of this union, but I don't want to give up how much money I get paid though. I don't want to give up this insurance that they negotiated for me though. I don't want to give up any of those things. I just don't want to pay them in order to I don't want to put my part in order to get that. Right. And so one of the things that I was thinking about is like, many of the people who are a part of unions, and I'm one of them. And I've said this as the pandemic has been going on, as I've been on the mic while we've been like doing this pandemic. Like I was fortunate enough to be able to sit at home for a month and a half, and I was still collecting a paycheck. Right, still collecting the paycheck. Hadn't been to work in a month and a half. Yeah, I had to forego some bonus compensation. I had to forego the overtime that I'm used to working, but I still had something coming in. And I didn't have to worry about having to call an unemployment office when I had, to have some sort of like income coming through here. Right. And so one of the things that I was thinking about as we talk about all of the people who are on the unemployment rolls, right? A lot of those people, had they not been so adamant about gutting collective bargaining, gutting the effectiveness of unions, a lot of these people were kind of cutting off their nose to spite their face because they didn't want to be a part of a union, and they didn't want you to be a part of a union either. They wanted to kind of gut that safety net that a lot of workers had, right? And so there are a lot of people who would normally be in a position where they're in a union and their job is protected because there's a contract in place that protects your position, that protects your level of compensation, that protects your level of insurance. That's already is contract bound. Company can't just do away with you because they said fuck you. We don't feel like paying this amount of money out. No, it's in the contract. You got to pay it, right? And it's for me, I'm looking at this, I'm like, it's a lot of people who are on those unemployment rolls who probably wouldn't be had they been a part of a union, right? And maybe, just maybe, the unemployment, the unemployment office wouldn't be so inundated and overwhelmed by so many people because, hey, our wages have been collectively bargained. Our contracts are ironclad. You can't just do away with us because you don't feel like paying this money. This, that, and the third, right? We had a friend of the show, Corey Bell, on the show last week. We led the show with her having to call the unemployment office 500 fucking times, right? Shouldn't have to go through that sort of thing. But it's just interesting to me, the fact that we have companies who are having a hard time getting people to come back to work because they the unemployment is paying them more than the jobs were, right? And then on top of that, you've got people who were telling the fast food workers and the Walmart workers that man, you don't have any skills. You don't have, you're not worth X amount of dollars per hour. These are jobs that we render to high school students and high school graduates. This is what you're supposed to do. And then you find out these workers are considered essential, but you don't want to pay them essential fucking money. Right? It's a weird fucking thing going on in this country right now where you don't necessarily see those who are too proud, I guess. And I think that's what it is. It's a lot of pride in seeing yourself as above someone else. But at the same time, it's they got to go to work and they're risking coronavirus infections to make sure that you got oranges at your crib, or you still going to McDonald's. McDonald's is still open. They're considered essential because it's a food service employee. but you don't believe that they should be worthy of $15 or $20 an hour to do the job that, although you shit on it, you still depend upon them to feed your ass, right? So yeah, man, I was just thinking about that. Like the idea that employers are having a hard time enticing people to come back to work because the unemployment is supposedly lucrative. No, y'all never was paying enough to begin with, right? Never was paying enough. So yeah, man, that's in Proud to Be an American. Now, another story that we got here in Proud to Be an American. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and let me pull this here up because we got video to this shit here too. So apparently there was a dude who went to Costco, decided that he was not going to wear a mask in the Costco, and he was going to video the guy who was telling him he needed to wear a mask in Costco, and the shit didn't exactly go the way he thought it would. So we get this story here. This comes out of TMZ. And we're going to play this video. Let me pull the video up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Just a second here. All right. Here we go. As soon as this video decides to load up, like we got shit to do today.
I'll just put you on my 3,000 follower Instagram feed, mostly local.
Hi, everyone. I work for...
Hold on a second. Right off rip, my man says he's got 3,000 followers on Instagram. Here's another thing with social media. Yo, man, y'all put way too much motherfucking emphasis on how many followers y'all got. Like this dude thinks that the fact that he's able to say, I've got 3,000 followers on Instagram. Like I've got 3,000 followers, therefore my word carries weight because it's 3,000 people who might be mildly interested in the shit that I post on Instagram. Somehow means you are somebody we need to pay attention to. Nigga, please.
Costco, and I'm asking this
2,000 follower Instagram feed, mostly local.
Hi everyone, I work for Costco, and I'm asking this member to put on a mask because that is our company policy. So either wear the mask,
and I'm not doing it because I woke up in a free country.
Have a great day.
So you're gonna take this car from me.
Sir, have a great
full
day.
Of stuff.
You are no longer welcome here in our warehouse. You need to leave.
Shout out
Thank
to
you
Tyson.
very
Here,
much.
you put it on. I'll give you my card. He's gonna take the card away because he's a pussy little bitch. There he is.
Okay. So he called Tyson. Tyson was the Costco employee who told him that he was no longer welcome in their warehouse. He needed to leave because he wouldn't wear a mask. And he called Tyson a what do you call him? A petty little bitch or some shit like that. I mean, no, he called him a pussy little bitch. You getting your shit took, dog. Like, you kind of look like the bitch right now. Like, bitchiness is you. That's your bag right now. You ain't got nothing. He took your toilet paper and everything. And toilet paper is gold, right? He took your shit. But he's the pussy little bitch. I don't know, dog. The bitch is you, dog. The bitch is you.
All my stuff. There he goes.
Everybody else with a mask on.
I'm
Look
not
at
a fucking sheep.
So here's the other thing, right? I'm not a fucking sheep. I'm an American. I grew up in. I'm American. It's because I live in America. I grew up in it's a free country. Yeah, it's a free country, right? So here's one of the things that I think is very interesting about all of this shit. Especially those who refuse to wear masks, who are upset that they have to wear a mask in a lot of these establishments now, who think that like this is we shouldn't have to do this. You don't have the authority to make me do this, that, and other. Okay, cool. The people who thought that it was okay for bakeries to deny gay couples service, and they went to the whole idea of like, this is my religious freedom, right? They use their religious affiliation to make it okay to act in a bigoted way. It's against my religion. It's against my religion to condone your homosexuality. And if I make a cake with two men on the top of that damn cake, then damn it, I'm damned to hell. And I can't live with that on my eternal soul. So rather than do that, I will not make that cake. I will refer you to someplace else other than my establishment. But I will refuse to make a cake with two men on the top of it. I do not condone homosexual marriage, right? This is a thing that was like argued like all the way up to the damn Supreme Court. And on the right, the argument was, hey, this is my establishment. I am free to serve whomever I feel like I want to. The government can't make me serve who I don't want to. And it can't make me compromise my religious beliefs, right? And the Supreme Court agreed with that sentiment on the right. This is the argument that they made. Like, yo, we don't have to serve anybody we don't deem we should have to. Interestingly enough, the same people who thought that that was okay have the biggest problems with establishments telling you you can't come in our fucking store without a goddamn mask. Right? Think about that for a second. You can't come into our store without a fucking mask. And then suddenly, as I'm living in a free country. Well, wasn't it a free country when that gay couple went to that bakery to ask, hey, nigga, could you just make us a cake? Could you do that for us? Like, hey, man, we ain't asked you to come to the wedding. We ain't asking you to officiate the wedding. We just need a cake, bruh. Make us a cake. Ain't that what you do? Right? The Venn diagram of the people who thought that level of discrimination was okay, and also the people who think that wearing a mask is problematic when you go into a private establishment is a fucking circle. It's a fucking circle, man. But, you know, this guy here, he wasn't done. He wasn't done. He actually had a response video to the video that he did, and it didn't work out well for him in that video either. So we're going to play this one here too. Check it out. He calls it standing strong.
What up, everybody? It's your favorite Reddit public freakout.
First of all, nigga, where's your shirt? Where's your motherfucking shirt, bro? Like, we don't need you in the bed, man, with your shirt off and shit, trying to talk to the public. Like, hey, man, we don't need that. We don't need that.
Dylan, all right? And I'm going to tell you this. 1, yeah, I'm a little fat. I get that. 2, I've got every fucking right to not wear a mask anywhere, because this isn't about wearing a mask. This is about control, okay?
You got a right to wear, you have a absolute right to not wear a mask. Absolutely. But when you're coming upon private property, they have the right of refusal, of service, of entry, or whatever the fuck else. You don't have the right to walk into their establishment and flout their fucking rules. It's real interesting how the rules are. It's real interesting. Some white dude in America feeling like the rules don't necessarily have to apply to him. They don't have to apply to him.
Okay? And I'm not the fucking sheep. Y'all are the fucking sheeps, every single one of you, going along with what everybody else is saying. I was one of the only people in that store not wearing a mask, which means you're protected from me and I'm protected from you, okay?
Actually, no, that's not what that means. That's actually not what that means. So check this out, man. When you wear a mask out in the public, you're protecting other people from you. There are a lot of people who may have the coronavirus, who may be asymptomatic, who may not necessarily be showing any signs of the disease whatsoever, who may not even be feeling any effects of the disease whatsoever, but they are a carrier of the virus, right? And so by them wearing the mask, they are protecting you from further infection, right? Now, if you decide that you don't want to wear the mask, suddenly those of us who aren't necessarily, who may not be carriers of the COVID-19, who may not be carriers of the coronavirus, if you do have it, if you do speak, if you do sneeze, if you do cough, and you decided you didn't want to wear a mask, guess what? Despite the fact that I'm wearing a mask, I can still catch it. You know why? Eyes and mucous membranes, man, they're opening to your motherfucking, like, you know, to your shit. The shit can get to you in your eyes. I see people all the time now. It's crazy. Like, people wear the mask like fashion accessories, and they don't wear them properly. I see motherfuckers wearing masks with the shit hanging on their chin like a goddamn chin strap. I see people wearing masks that don't even have a mask covering the nose. They like got it right up underneath their nose. They're not even wearing the mask properly. But the idea that simply because I'm wearing a mask that I'm safe, no. The mask that I'm wearing is to protect your dumb ass. The mask that you're supposed to be wearing is supposed to protect me. That's how that works. So that you think that you're going to walk into a goddamn store without a mask and like everybody else has to wear a mask, but you don't. Somehow you're supposed to be excused because America. No, nigga, that ain't how that fucking works. It's never been how it worked.
That dude was hovering over me. He was stalking me. He was fucking with me. I just took out my camera at that moment so I could show people how this guy was acting towards one person, okay? So if everyone else is wearing a mask, then one person should be able to fly, if anything.
No, see, that's the thing. One person should be able to fly, if anything. Think about this for a second. I was having a conversation with my wife last night about this because we're talking about like, I think she mentioned to me last night about Target maybe not like having people like confront folks at the stores for not wearing masks or whatever. And it's at a point now where like people feel like they can just flout the fucking they can just flout the rules however the fuck they feel like it. And if you allow one person to kind of get away with that, other people feel like they can kind of get away with it. And then what's the fucking point of having rules to begin with, right? And so you feel like they should allow you because it's you. Like, who the fuck are you to slide? No, either wear the mask or get the fuck on. Simple. It's not rocket science. It's not politically incorrect. Hey man, these are the rules to fuck with us. If you want to fuck with us, this is what you got to do. If you don't want to do that, then you can't fuck with us. That's it. It ain't rocket science. It ain't hard. I swear, man. We live in one of the dumbest fucking countries, bro. One of the dumbest. I swear to God. We live in a time now, man. We are living in a time. Hold on. Let me get this dumb motherfucker off my screen. We are living in a time where education, expert analysis, learned individuals aren't valid. They're not valued here in this nation anymore. We have access to information, right? We have more access to information than we probably ever had in the history of in all of human history. We got more access to information than we know what to do with. The problem with that is that you got people who aren't learned, who don't study certain things, who have never even tried to become an expert or learn the thing, learn the things that will make them an expert. We don't even try that shit anymore. What we do is we'll go to a podcast, or we'll go to a YouTube channel, or we'll go to a news outlet that already confirms our preconceived notions of how the world is. It's not even just the facts anymore. It's how do I feel? And if I don't feel like this is true, then damn it, it's not. I can disregard factual information because it runs contrary to how I feel about shit. Right? And so we look to, unfortunately, a lot of us are looking to people who are just as stupid as us to tell us how we should move in a crisis, right? In a global crisis. The people who don't know shit are the people we're listening to a lot of times because it confirms what we already believe. That confirmation bias shit is so thick. It's so real. And it's what allows a dumbass like this dude to go on YouTube or to go on Instagram, videotape a guy doing his job and thinks that he's in the right about this shit. Right? He thinks he's aggrieved. This is the other part about a lot of this shit, man. Like, there's a lot of white people who are out here acting like they're aggrieved. Oh my God, this is tyranny. You don't know what the fuck tyranny is. If you not being able to go to Costco without a mask is fucking tyranny. You don't know what that is. You can't go to Supercuts. Oh my God. The world, the sky is falling. We have become a nation that does not allow for experts to do their fucking jobs. And if they do their jobs, you're mad at them for trying to do it. That's where we at. That's where we at. And so, yeah, man, if we, whenever that's where we are, man. I'm done with that. That's proud to be an American.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
That's enough of that shit, but we got to return to an oldie but a goodie.
Yo, we got some hats now, motherfuckers.
It's our ass hat of the week this week here at the Spann Report podcast, and our ass hat of the week this week is Lindsay McMichael. Now, Lindsay McMichael is a name that you probably haven't heard before, but Lindsay McMichael is the sister of and the daughter of the men who killed Ahmaud Arbery. She actually went on Snapchat and posted a picture of Ahmaud Arbery's dead body while he laid on the ground after her brother and her father killed him.
God damn!
So we're going to read the story here. This comes out of the NewYorkPost.com. It says the sister of the man charged with gunning down Ahmaud Arbery says she posted the pictures of the unarmed black jogger's dead body online because she is a true crime fan, according to a new report. Lindsay McMichael, 30, admitted posting an unedited image of a blood-soaked Arbery lying on the streets in Brunswick, Georgia on Snapchat, but said that she meant no harm. I had no nefarious or malicious intent when I posted that picture, she told the outlet. The thing is, I'm a huge fan of true crime. I listen to 4 or 5 podcasts a week. I'm constantly watching that sort of thing. It was more of a holy shit, I can't believe this has happened. She added, it was absolutely poor judgment. However, a lawyer for Arbery's family called the image deeply disturbing. The picture Lindsay McMichael posted was very disturbing and very disturbing to the family. Attorney S. Lee Merritt told The Sun it actually fits the pattern of the McMichael family engaging in a weird, violent form of voyeurism. Ex-cop Gregory McMichael, 64, and his son Travis McMichael, 34, Lindsay McMichael's father and brother, are charged with murder on Arbery's February 23rd shooting death. So, yeah, I'm not buying this shit about you being an avid fan of true crime. I'm not buying this shit about you didn't have any nefarious or malicious intent when posting those photos. It kind of reminds me of, and I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but it kind of reminds me of those pictures of when they would lynch black people, how they would also pose and stand around and cut off pieces of that person as trophies as they were proud of the work that they did. And so posting that photo of an Ahmaud Arbery dead with shotgun wounds in his body, posting that shit to social media, putting it off of you being a fucking true crime fan. Yeah, man, that's bullshit. They need to lock her dumb ass up too. And that has been ass out of the. She's our ass out of the week this week, man. Lindsay, whatever the fuck.
Yo, we got some hats now, motherfuckers.
But we do have a champ.
The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here.
All right. Our champ of the week this week here at the Spann Report podcast is none other than Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, man. I know some of y'all gonna be mad, man. Some of y'all niggas just don't like Oprah for whatever fuck reason, but I fucks with Oprah. I think Oprah does a lot of good works. That goes unnoticed. But we're gonna read the story here. This comes out of the Undefeated because Oprah Winfrey just gave $2 million to HBCU Tennessee State and its surrounding community. As you guys know, your man Spann is an alumni of Tennessee State University, so this is it's kind of close to your boy. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to read the story. Like I said, this comes out of The Undefeated. It says the Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation announced this week that the newest grant recipients of Oprah Winfrey's now $12 million COVID-19 relief fund, which has been doled out to several different organizations in 5 different cities. The connective tissue of those cities is that they are all places that shaped Winfrey. Baltimore, Chicago, Milwaukee, Casuco, Mississippi, and Nashville, Tennessee, where she attended Tennessee State University, a historically black college. Those also are cities that have largely African American populations, a community that Winfrey notes has been disproportionately hit by COVID-19. Of note is Winfrey's sizable $2 million contribution to the Tennessee State Initiative, which services the school and the surrounding community. Once Winfrey decided she wanted to get involved, she reached out to Tennessee State President Glenda Glover and connected with Bishop Joseph Walker to launch Nashville Nurtures, a collaboration between Mount Zion Baptist Church and Tennessee State to provide meals to more than 10,000 families in Nashville. I see this as an offering. I see this as a part of my tithe, my personal spiritual tithing from the inside out and serving where I come from. That's the first thing you do. You take care of home first. Take care of your own personal community, said Winfrey. Winfrey's history with historically black colleges and universities dates back more than 30 years. When she attended Tennessee State on a full scholarship and majored in communications, she fell just one credit short of graduating and instead decided to take her first job co-anchoring a TV show in Baltimore. Though she left Tennessee State in the early 70s, she returned in 1986 to turn in her final paper to graduate. Her philanthropy for HBCUs continued when she pledged $12 million to Morehouse College in 1989. Last year, she was surprised to learn it had been 30 years since her initial donation, so she decided to donate another $13 million to Morehouse. That came 1 week after giving $1 million to the United Negro College Fund. This time has shown itself to us so that we can look inside of ourselves and ask ourselves the question, what is the essential work? What is the essential service I need to offer my community, said Winfrey. So when I asked that of myself, not just in graduation speech to kids, how can I better use what I am and what I have to serve in a way that I have not in the past? This year, donations to HBCUs are even more critical as schools deal with the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Winfrey isn't alone in donating to HBCUs during this time, as other celebrities, businesses, and foundations have found ways to contribute to a variety of causes. So yeah, man. Oprah Winfrey out here giving in ways that a lot of motherfuckers who are critics of Oprah Winfrey are not. So, yeah, man, that just is what it is. Just is what it is. Tennessee State and the surrounding community around the Tennessee State University could definitely use those funds. And it was dope of Oprah Winfrey to step up in that way to bring attention to that, yo, for real. But it's about time for me to get on up out of here. Your man Spann got to hit the grill, man. I'm going to be out here grilling and shit. You know what I'm saying? Steaks and burgers and sausages and whatnot. Right? But before we get up out of here, let me remind you guys how to get in touch with your man Spann here at the Spann Report Podcast. Let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up the hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get read here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Leave us those emails, and of course, those emails will get read here and replied to here live on the show as well. Follow your man Spann on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So you can go ahead and follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. You can also hit up our website at www.thespannreport.com. Go there and leave us comments. Go there and vote in the poll when we decide to put those joints up. You can go there and watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. And hit us up on iTunes and or Stitcher with those 5-star reviews. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you nothing. Just a couple minutes of time, man, for real, to hit us up with those 5-star reviews, man. And also, like, real talk, the people who don't fuck with you will let you know. So if you're fucking with us, let us know. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm going to get on up out of here, and I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam, peace.